and welcome to Niaga Spotlight with me, Tamina Kausji. Niaga Spotlight goes through the week in business and future affairs, market watch, industries, analysis and insights. We've got you covered right here on Niaga Spotlight. Well, this week on analysis, we're looking at digital resilience and economic security. Now, 5G technology in Malaysia is revolutionizing connectivity, data transfer and innovation, paving the way for IR 4.0. However, this transition also presents challenges, including cyber vulnerabilities that could compromise national security, disrupt economic stability, and of course, jeopardize data privacy of citizens. The mitigation of these threats requires a strategic and proactive approach. In fact, over the last 3 weeks alone, international hacker group Rootkit kicked off its cyber attack campaign against Malaysia, linked with the conflict in the Middle East, and has also announced a quote-unquote temporary cessation. Targets of this recent cyber attack campaign include network solutions and system integrator AWANI, alongside Maxis and UTutor, with threats to release Maxis customer data. So this Niaga Spotlight discussion focuses on fortifying cyber resilience as well as enhancing cybersecurity measures for optimum protection and economic security in a data-driven world. It's an absolute pleasure that joining me in the studio now are Sharifa Rashida Said Uthman, Director with Cybersecurity Policy and International Cooperation with the National Cybersecurity Agency, NACSA. We also have Mohammad Zabri Adil Talib, Vice President of Cybersecurity and Responsive Services with Cybersecurity Malaysia, CSM, and Sage Kaur, Pre-Sales Technical Manager with Trend Micro, Malaysia. Thank you all for making time to join us on Niaga Spotlight. How are you all doing?
We're fine, thank you very much.
Okay, fantastic. So if I may get started by asking perhaps Sheikh Zabri first. Now, the Rootkit cyber attack campaign, of course, it's not the first time that we have had a massive breach or a threat of a big cyber attack in Malaysia. And previous incidents that we'll go into deeper also include the NRD, National Registration Department. So why does this problem still persist in CSM's perspective?
Okay, data breach is not only a Malaysia problem.
Of course not.
It's a global issues whereby all the cyber criminals, they are trying to look for this data. Because data is the new oil, the new gold.
Well put.
They can do a lot of things from this data, personal data. So because of this, the threat are emerging. They are using the latest technology. They will try to improve their modus operandi and try to use many things that can assist their objective. Looking at Malaysia perspective, I think that there is a gap in Malaysia regulatory framework, whereby it is obviously that what we have right now is not enough. It's not enough, whereby, of course, we have Computer Crime Act, we have Communication and Multimedia Act. But when we look at this perspective, we need more. We need something that is preventive in nature, whereby it will put all these organizations to have the needs of understanding what is the level of their cybersecurity readiness in their organization. So how do we do this? Through audits, through assessment. So if we have this, and then we understand what is the threat level, what is the cybersecurity level at the organization. Because of the absence of this, we don't know what's the level of it. And some organizations, they took advantage of this by ignoring the investment of cybersecurity, which led to this low level of cybersecurity aspect, which led to the hackers to steal the data and then sell it over the dark web and monetize from it. And then we see, which obviously the scammers use these data from the dark web to assist their campaign. So from overall perspective, we can see that the cyber criminals or the hackers, they will not stop. They will not stopping down or slowing down because they try everything.
There's so much of incentive, right?
Yeah, because it's a luxury industry. Scam is the luxury industry.
Fairly put. Thank you so much, Zabri. I think that's a really fantastic introduction to the overall landscape right now. Sage, if I could go into from a trend micro perspective, what do you have to add to this? Speaking about especially organizations' responsibility to intervene even before the cyber attacks and threats happen.
Yes, I think the cyber attack has been a long-standing issue, like what Encik Zabri have already spoke about. And the rootkit is not the first and will not be the last. And we notice nowadays the attacker becoming more bolder and in claiming responsibility on the attack, right? So in the past experience, we actually noticed that, the negligence of insider and also lack of awareness is the root cause of a cyber breach attack. And then the use of weak password, for example.
Even at an organizational level.
Even at the organization level. And it could cause to unauthorized access to the systems and eventually causing the data breach happening in the organizations. That's why we often encourage organizations to implement multi-factor authentication solutions in order to overcome that. And another negligence behavior could be simply clicking the malicious link on a malicious, a phishing email that could cause to a breach as well. So the both so-called example that I quote just now is actually what we usually call cyber hygiene. So that is the usual problem that leads to a cyber attack nowadays. And I would like to give a credit to both CSM and also NACSA. They constantly giving, the adversary in terms of how do we want to, when rootkit starts to announce, this in the public, where they are attacking Malaysia nation as a nation. So they giving the adversary saying that, okay, what you should do, what is the steps that you should overcome this
the SOP basically.
The SOP basically. And then come to furthermore, right, in the past few years, we witnessed actually COVID accelerated the digital transformations, right? People can be working from everywhere, data can be accessed from everywhere. So that is also one of the big challenge leading to the rapid cloud adoptions as well. And then such situation will actually introduce more vulnerabilities and more attack surface to the organizations. And another probably challenge that we see also shortage of skilled workforce.
Absolutely.
Yeah, if you...
Thanks for that overview insofar, Sage.
Yes,
Puan Rashida, if I could move into asking you about the shortage of the skilled workforce. Now, we technically have an anticipated need for roughly about 25,000 or so cybersecurity experts just by 2025. If there's anything that you could share with us about collaborative efforts that have been happening between especially the government and also educational institutions and other players.
To address the cybersecurity workforce?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much for the questions. And I actually would like to echo my colleague panels regarding the importance for the shared responsibility, the things that at national level, where the government recognized that in handling cybersecurity incidences, governments alone cannot handle that. No entity alone can handle that.
This is not a silo job, right?
No, at all. No nation alone can actually handle that. So hence where there are a lot of issues in terms of providing cybersecurity skills. And cybersecurity skills here does not mean just technical skills, because cybersecurity today is no more an IT issue. It is a technical issue where you need people that have the ability to understand what technicality is. It is also a national security issue because, let's face it, a lot of information resides in digital. We are talking about economy today, is an economical advantage to anyone. So it is also an economic and geopolitical issue where you need to look into the surrounding and map that with regards to the ability for you to identify, protect, detect, respond, and recover. That is what, as a nation, we should achieve. And addressing the gap of each and every step in this framework that is understandable with regards to all the cybersecurity, information security practitioner where you need to do this to address the guilt for each and everything so that we can elevate the national cyber baseline and hygiene to see and pinpoint what are the threats, who are the threats actor, and mitigate that accordingly with a collaborative and coordinated work.
The cyber baseline, elevating that. Thank you very much for focusing on that, Puan Rashida. Jezabri, if I can go back into also referring to and picking up from what Puan Rashida said. Now, we've got some stats from Palo Alto Networks. It's a US-based cybersecurity company. They look at ransomware, etc. So apparently, cases in Malaysia actually increased by almost close to 40% just in 2022. So going into the real question, the average cost of data breaches when it comes to the global landscape, it's of course incredible. In 2023, it was over 4.45 million USD. Now a 15% increase over 3 years. Do we have any quantifiers or parameters for the Malaysian landscape? And even if we don't have the statistical data, what is CSM's perspectives on the losses that are being created by this?
Okay, unfortunately, there is no effort to quantify.
Enumerate.
Yeah, to enumerate the loss of data breach.
Do you think it would? Do you think it would actually assist with having stakeholders be much more strict about their cyber hygiene?
Yeah. So in cybersecurity Malaysia, we study according to PDRM. Okay, last year in 2023, the total loss is 1.13 billion ringgit into cybercrime, focusing on the, and then on the previous year in 2022, it is 771.1 million. So there is an increase about 300 million ringgit loss in total. This is why I said that scam is the lucrative industry, whereby all these scammers or criminals, they will not slowing down, they will push to increase their income, so-called. And then according to Cybersecurity Malaysia, Cyber 999 reporting channel, whereby it's actually focused on the technical matter aspect, we recorded increase of, last year we recorded 646 data breach cases. Compared to in 2022, it's about 50 cases. So there is a massive increase. So in our prediction that there is a correlation because of the numbers of data breach increase, and then it relates to the increase of loss in the cybercrime cases by the victim. It's not really scientific, but this is some of the assumption or the prediction that we expect. We conduct threat intelligence analysis, and then we found out, we monitor the dark web data breach forums, selling data, whereby it is recorded that government sectors recorded 22% from overall, followed by telecommunication at 9%, and then followed by education and retail sectors at 6% each. So, which means that the cyber criminal will always target the government because of the data. So
the value of the data.
The value of the data.
Yes.
And then looking at the dark web, the more recent the data, the value is sell at much higher price. Yeah.
Those are some fascinating insights. Thanks very much, Jezabri. Sage, would you be able to perhaps give us a comparative of, have we actually seen an uptick by organizations for acquiring protective software, systems, etc., also in the past 2 to 3 years, given the increase in the not just threat, but also the actual losses?
Yeah. Let me put this question in another perspective.
Sure.
When we look at losses in the incident of cyber breach, beyond the actual cost to the incident itself, it also comes to consider about the loss of reputation, and also the loss of the cost in recovery the business during the incident breach, right? So actually during the incidents, the organization will need to spend huge amount of efforts in both investigating the root cause of why the data breach is actually happened, and then at the same time also, recovering the business.
The crisis management
The crisis
aspect.
management aspect of it. And at the same time also, you need to regain the trust from the customer of the organization itself. And oftentimes, all this cannot be really quantified by the term of money. So that's the problem, yeah.
Fair, exactly. So in a sense, it's actually priceless, right?
Yeah.
All right, Puan Rashida, from there, if you could perhaps give us a little bit of an introduction, speaking about the fact that the government of Malaysia did actually launch the Malaysia Cybersecurity Strategy, the MCSS 2020 to 2024. Us being in 2024, what is the overall picture that we're getting? Is it positive, negative? What are some of the key areas of concern that still remain?
I will start by saying that the MCSS itself, the Malaysia Cybersecurity Strategy itself, is an indicator to our nations that the government has shifted the way cybersecurity as an IT issue. Cybersecurity only focus to the big organization, which we call critical national information infrastructure, but it goes beyond that. And I'm so happy that Sage mentioned about cyber hygiene, because be it government, be it industry, there are people inside there that actually do the day-to-day job. I come from the government, you come from the industry. There are actual humans that conduct that. And the element of cyber hygiene is important. So coming back to the MCSS itself, it was launched in 2020. During our country and the world are facing the drastic changes, where everyone rush into utilizing digitalization to ensure that we can actually do our jobs.
Yep.
So if you compare to the incidences that happened prior COVID and post-COVID, it is a very different dynamic that happened, where I'm also happy that Sage mentioned about multi-factor authentication and Zabri mentioned about how hackers use data and credential and sell that username and password everywhere. I would say that we talk about the skills. We need tools, people with the right skills, and acquire the tools so that, for example, I'm just going to give an example of MFA or multi-factor authentication. The moment when you embark that into your whole process, and there is another element of zero trust, where you actually never trust anyone unless you authenticate, not only individual, but up until machine and application, where you need to make sure that that is particular machine that you talk to, that is particular identity that you talk to. The element of when the credential laid in the dark web or in the open web, username and password, it will not give an effect of any data breaches. At this, with the zero trust as well as the right implementation of MFA, the tools, you can actually reflect that. Coming back to the MCSS, one thing that I also want to indicate, where Zabri early mentioned about the need for regulatory framework, this is an extreme exercise, I would say, and an indicator from our highest level for us to work together to produce and develop a cybersecurity bill. We have started the journey of doing a study to identify how Malaysia and the feasibility of Malaysia having a cybersecurity bill to elevate the critical national information infrastructure entity, where we identify agency that have critical system, which we believe that if they actually do their due diligence with the right cybersecurity baseline, they actually can replicate a value chain, a supply chain, and holistically invest in terms of developing their internal cyber hygiene and replicate that at national level.
Fantastic. So what I'm really hearing is that if we're able to operationalize everything which needs to be in place before the cybersecurity bill comes into action, actually by that time we should have all the massive organizations already covered, right? And hopefully, if you're able to, a quick perhaps prospective timeline for this point, Rashida, before we go into a break?
So we have been instructed by our highest leader under the National Security Council, National Cybersecurity Committee, and also we have tabled the cabinet paper, to our cabinet to get the approval in terms of policy to proceed with that bill. We are working in terms to ensure that the bill can be tabled this year. And again, to take back as what you said, it is not that the agencies or the entity did not do anything with regards to developing cybersecurity baseline and hygiene, but it is also to strengthen everyone's coordination within the regulatory power under our legislation to ensure that we actually elevate together in terms of making sure cybersecurity, it is cybersecurity and cybersecurity readiness level at the highest as we can.
So it's always a priority. Thanks,
Yes.
Puan Rashida. So we take a quick break. We'll be right back with the rest of this discussion right here on Niaga Spotlight. Stay with us. Welcome back to Niaga Spotlight with me, Tamina Kausji. So we're continuing the discussion on cyber resilience and, of course, the linkages to economic security. So going back into the discussion, Jazabri, now when we look at the realm of cybersecurity, often we hear this phrase, humans are the weakest link. Do you feel this is a fair statement, especially for our own case in Malaysia? Why or why not?
It's not, to me, it's not fair for human. Just joking, okay.
Okay. Mostly because we have so much of AI and machine learning that's happening,
Yeah,
right?
okay. Yes, I agree. Because some people are, lazy. Some people, they don't take things seriously. Some people, they negligence of updating their knowledge about the threats of or the danger of internet and cyber world. So this is what makes that whatever technology that you import, whatever process that you put, still there is a weakest link there because of this negligence. But if we able to understand that, so what should we do?
Exactly, the actionable steps.
Yeah, so we need to help these people, in predicting, okay, if their behavior will be like this, so how do we cope with that? Yeah, so this is where the clearly whatever that we practiced before is still not enough, and then we need to do more. I agree with Puan Sharifah. The cybersecurity bill is the answer, whereby it will enforce the organisation to improve their cybersecurity level at their organisation, which means that the government need to, protect the people, because need to understand that there are some people who are in this category that makes everything weak and become, the problem for a bigger problem in future. So with this cybersecurity bill, there is requirements to monitor the supply chains, the level of vulnerabilities or the level of readiness, the level of hygienes. When you do all these audits, you will get the numbers, you will get the measurement. The issue is that because of the absence of this regulation or this
Fair enough. Repercussions, basically, right?
People will take advantage. They will not, invest money. And what happens is that the industry of cybersecurity will, they cannot expand. But once the bill introduced for all these 11 sectors,
Compliance has to follow.
Has to follow. The industry, people will invest. And then there is a massive need for the manpower. So this is very important for our digital economy because we already laid the infrastructure, the 5G network telecommunication. We already come up with the entrepreneurship program, marketplace. So what's next? the next level is the cybersecurity. We need to create trust for all this platform, all the system that the government develop is safe, and we all must participate in this.
100%. And Sage, can I shift the discussion to asking you, when it comes to major industry stakeholders, are they actually doing enough when it comes to minimizing the risk of financial scams and losses, particularly for individual consumers?
So I think the organizations need to start asking questions to themselves. Is cybersecurity so responsible to the IT department? Or is it actually responsible for everyone in the organizations, right? So while I don't believe human is actually the only weakest link, I believe cybersecurity is actually a culture, right? So with everyone in the organization have the mindset of assume breach, I think we should implement a proper security posture and culture to ensure there's no gap in between people, process, and also technology. So in Trend Micro, right, we actually often assist our customer in educating their employee on the cybersecurity awareness. Like we work hand in hand together with them to run awareness workshop, and also providing tools for them to run phishing campaigns as well to their employee.
All right, so it's very heartening also to know about the fact that there's also a constant dialogue happening about this. It's just about getting enough players on board to create that critical mass, right?
Yes.
All right. Yes, Puan Rashida, anything to add?
Just now you asked whether is it a fair statement when you say human is the weakest link?
Yeah.
Allow me to add another sentence.
Sure.
That yes, human are the weakest link, but they are also the best defense. So it means that I think I'm going to take both what Zabri mentioned as well as Sage mentioned, where yes, humans are the weakest link because we are human, we need to work together, and we spoke about building cyber hygiene. Organizations, be it public or private, be it at national level or internationally and globally, they are investing in terms of building up human firewall. They do not only invest in terms of strengthening their cybersecurity team, their risk team, but they also do continuous investment to ensure that the people who work in that organizations understand how to protect themselves, which will actually spill over to the protecting of the organizations. So coming back to that, when you build up a culture of cybersecurity, as mentioned by Sage, you are elevating and making human as your best defense. Defense in what? Even if you are not a cybersecurity technical expert, but you have an awareness that this is not something that I work day to day. For example, if I work in marketing department, in marketing, these emails or this information that I receive is something that is funny.
Something fishy, literally.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you have the awareness to report to your risk team, to the technical people. Hey, can you have a look at my thing? They're doing something funny, or I do not recognize it. Not only the people with the expertise, with the tools, comes and say and holding stick to you in order to do
usually that
things.
happens when a crisis is unfolding, right?
Exactly. So unfortunately, when things happen, the learning curve will happen in an organization.
Fair enough. And I think those are recommendations that all organizations need to take. Now, I'm stretching that landscape even wider. Jezabri, so last September, PM Anwar Ibrahim, of course, launched the NIMP, the New Industrial Master Plan 2030, which, of course, aims very bold achievements. And at the same time, when it comes to industrialization, we are looking at moving so much of this into the online, the digital sphere. So how would you assess our digital resilience when it comes to readiness for NIMP 2030, which is just a few short years away?
Yeah. As for now, the truth is that we're still not ready yet. Yeah. I would say that the first step towards this is through cybersecurity bill. Yeah. Cybersecurity bill, you know, it will create trust because the compliance is there. We have the numbers, and then the cybersecurity industry will boom. But at the same time, we have to accept that the technology wave is coming, and that this is disruptive, and nothing much we can do about it, but except to embrace it. For example, in industrial sectors, the fourth IR is coming in, the automation, because it's the solution, because of we are lacking of the manpower, the workers. The intellectual level has increased. I mean, for Malaysian, we are no longer wants to work in the dirty
the 3D jobs.
The 3D jobs,
Yeah.
So it will be replaced through these machines and automation. But at the same time, in order, we need to understand that if we are moving towards digitalization, there is a risk if we don't plan it properly. When we design system, cyber-physical system, to improve our productivity, to improve our revenue, we need to understand that it must be designed in security in mind. Because the engineers always think about the functionality, not the security aspect of it. So when we develop this, we take into consideration of cybersecurity aspect. This is why PM Anwar emphasized on cybersecurity, because of it is in order to reap the full advantage of digital economy, the risk level must be at the minimal level, which means that we must, at this current situation, we must expect that we will be attacked at any time. It's the matter of when.
So you got to be ready basically all the time, 24/7, 365.
When you are being attacked, it's all about how you bounce back, how you recover, the resilient aspect of it. You attack me, how many times I still can operate.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
fair enough.
That's what the most important thing, so that the economic delivery, we can make sure that it is consistent, and then the investor have trust on us, the customer will have trust on the industry, so it will improve.
Everything is
Malaysia
exponential and it's interconnected as well, right?
Yes.
So I'd like to actually go into some specific data breaches that, of course, made global headlines, and also they were the most severe in Southeast Asia. They happened to happen in Malaysia in 2022. There was the AirAsia data breach. Then there was also the NRD-related data breach. So connected to that, Puan Rashidana, of course, we recently launched our PADU Central Database Hubs. Sign-ups, of course, have been slower than expected, with many raising concerns of data security and privacy concerns. So let's say, looking at the immediate recent history with these big data breaches, especially when it comes to government-related information, what can be done as an SOP to assure, especially the rakyat, that you can be assured, you will be safe when you put your data into this database, not just PADU, but any of them?
So one thing that I think everyone needs to understand, when any who in cybersecurity practice, the asset owner, for example, you talk about PADU, is accountable to practice the cyber hygiene that we speak about, to actually do the necessary, as what Mr. Zabri mentioned just now, risk assessment that actually identify what is your crown jewel, and you do the elements of security by design, security being shift to the earlier stage, not when you do the testing, when the coding level, at the coding level that you already address the elements of security. And security by design, security in depth, it means that layers and layers and layers of protection or security controls, what you call it, where you protect your data, you protect your application, you protect the credential, you segmented your network in such a way, if any breaches happen, you have the resiliency. And I think that is what Zabri mentioned just now. It doesn't matter how many times people attack you, you actually can be business as usual as soon as you can, and you can protect your crown jewels, where your true oil of information, of data, of system, of critical system are protected in such a way it will not impact anyone that goes to the level of the highest. Coming back to the elements of how we actually govern cybersecurity.
Sure. Because
At
also,
the
if I may just interject, now at present though, Malaysian cybersecurity regulations, they don't actually apply to government data, correct? So how, in your perspective, ought that to be addressed, particularly concerning that, as Zabri, Sage, all of you have agreed upon, government data, related data, that's the crown jewel when it comes to breaches and risk.
I think what was not covered but in the government is the personal data, PII, where we have an official secret act that covered that. But I'm happy to share that in the cybersecurity bill that we are drafting, any entity that is recognized as critical national information infrastructure entity, be it government or private, you are accountable not only to protect your data, you need to ensure you do the due diligence in terms of protecting your system, your network and whatnot, where it will be measurable by doing security audit, just like what Zabri mentioned, the importance of audit to ensure that the baseline are being followed and due diligence are being put in terms of ensuring your cybersecurity are intact.
And if we have to regulate that through policy, then so be it.
Yes.
Yeah, fair. All right. So moving along the discussion as we move towards closing out it, can I ask you, Zabri, so cybersecurity, of course, is very cross-sectoral and the issue, and the discussion has to come from all different pillars, politics and security, economy, social and cultural matters. In your perspective from Cybersecurity Malaysia, what more can be done immediately and for the near future?
Yeah. As for the first step, what I'm looking forward is the cybersecurity bill. Back to the cybersecurity bill.
I love that we're emphasizing on that, and also that it's most likely going to happen this year. Of course, Parliament opens a little bit later this month, February 26th onwards, right?
Because from that, it will create, ripples.
Yeah.
Ripples. It will create the culture. It will create the needs. It will the universities will pushing new courses, and then because of the shortage of you mentioned about the shortage of cybersecurity professional numbers.
Yes, almost 25K short.
Yeah, we already achieved like 12,000, and then we did another 12,000 by 2026. But the capacity of the universities in Malaysia, we produce in our research, it's about 1,200 cybersecurity professionals. That's the maximum.
Ouch. So that's not really going to meet that 12K differential.
So what is our strategy? So we need to come up with some sort of career shift program. So those who are working in IT, they want to
perhaps.
Reskilling. They want to shift into cybersecurity. So they should attend these courses, and then they can join the cyber defenders. So this is one of the strategy, which is the manpower, the talents, not only to develop our own local talent, but to attract international talent. Talents from Trend Micro, for example, they're coming from Japan, coming from the overseas, and then working here, and then try to give knowledge or distribute the knowledge to Malaysian. So the system need to be designed in such way so that we are prepared when the cybersecurity bill being approved.
Exactly, so that everything is actually moving cohesively at one time.
As for now, it's up to each
individual
organization, which is, to me, it's not coordinated and it's unfair. The government must, take charge.
That's a judicious analysis. And Sage, from there, can I ask you about looking at threats on the horizon, which include, of course, forgery in the financial system, ransomware, and any form of scam that can threaten critical national infrastructures. So 2024 is also anticipated to be a year whereby we're going to see a lot more AI and machine learning related threats. Trend Micro's thoughts on this and how to best prepare.
So, given the ever-present cybersecurity risk, it's crucial for the organizations to adopt a robust and efficient approach, right? So, let's start with a risk-based approach. A lot of organizations today is going with a maturity approach. So, because there are too many cybersecurity tools out there, while organizations trying to achieve the maturity level from time to time, end up it will be adopting too many cybersecurity tools, right? And then the challenge will be cybersecurity is too small, and also alert fatigue from that perspective. And it didn't really meet the objective of cybersecurity in the end of the day. So with a risk-based approach, what you can do is that you can pinpoint and prioritize the resource into the actual risk that the organization is having, and then place the right resources and solutions in that space particularly. And then like what Rashida has mentioned about zero trust, with that approach, then we can effectively implement the zero trust strategy by prioritizing where is my risk, then I do the zero trust so-called prevention and block the high-risk assets like the identity or the users from accessing to my critical data from there. And then the journey do not stop there, right? Because you need to always constantly come back and review the strategy of the cybersecurity to see whether with all the latest threats is coming in by doing the cybersecurity assessment.
And how often would you recommend that to happen?
So that, at least once a year.
All right,
Yeah.
minimum, yeah?
Minimum, yeah. So in the organizations. Then don't forget also, we should be assuming we could be breached, right? With the mindset of that. If let's say in the incident of breach, what do we need to do? Because everyone will be jumping in, to try to restore the system, so-called the crisis management and everything. Communication is very important. So who should take what, responsible during that incident? And I think lastly, I want to emphasize also, again, the culture of cybersecurity. Constant so-called awareness program and educations to the employee in the organizations is very important to ensure we can deal with the latest threats, the AI element in the attackers' technologies, right? So that is very important as well.
Absolutely. And thank you for summing that up. And if I could now move quickly to Puan Rashida, perhaps to close out the entire session with basically NAGSA's opinions moving forward, particularly being a fairly newly established agency, but at the same time looking at really critical national digital infrastructures.
One thing that I would love to indicate that, yes, NAGSA, a newly established agency somewhere in 2017, but we at National Security Council have done the work of cybersecurity as national security matters since 2004. But because of the traditional security, we were placed in an organization where at that particular point of time, the traditional security are in the midst of shifting. We used to
I'm
have...
sorry, if I may ask you to maybe summarize that very quickly.
Of course. What I would say at national level, that I believe that coming years at National Cybersecurity Agency, we envisioned that we would want to elevate cyber hygiene at national security, at national level. We also want to work together with all the stakeholders, and we always recognize that cybersecurity is a shared responsibility, and we need to build trust within the government agency, trust within the industry, and trust among each other in order for us to build a secure and trusted cyber ecosystem in Malaysia.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Puan Rashida, as well as Sage. Well, that's all we have time today for on Niaga Spotlight. Please join us again next Friday with more business analysis and insights. I'm Tamina Kausji signing off for now, together with my wonderful panel, and we'll see you again next Friday.